This is my tropical garden, and I did do a tropical garden tour, and I showed how to take care of cordyline and canna plants so that you can have them year after year and have even more every year. But because I put this garden together about 4 years ago, before I had a channel, I couldn't show you how I did the edging, for example. So I'm ready to put some new edging into a new garden. It's going to have a coastal theme, and I'm going to be able to show you that step by step now. When I did this garden, I started over here at the steps, and you can see that this first method that I used, and I'm going to link a video where I learned this method, came out pretty well, but I found it really difficult, and it's messier here. This method uses pole barn nails to connect the pieces of landscape timber. You can see one right there. You have to drill the holes and put the nails through before you put these in the ground. So that's why I found this difficult. So I'm going to show you my method, which is slightly different. So moving from the tropical garden to the new coastal garden. I did a video on this small patio area right in front of me last year. And then earlier in the spring, I paved over to the left here, but I sort of lost the level. It was hard because everything on the edges isn't level, but I'm going to work on that because I just want that middle area to be level. And then more recently, I put in this little narrow pathway here with the burning bush on the right. And that fenced-in area with the landscaping fabric under it, that's going to be a raised bed vegetable garden area. Right now, it's just my pumpkin patch. And those 4x4s, that was a very quick and dirty temporary fence because the woodchuck had already started to eat my plants. So those are going to get removed and put in a little bit differently. In fact, you will see by the end of this video I've already moved one of them. But what I want to do is extend this paved area and put in a little what I'm calling coastal garden, which will somewhat block the view of that little fenced-in vegetable garden and will also edge my little walkway there on the right. And I will eventually extend that walkway beyond the garden as well. So you can see with the pavers that I've got some landscaping fabric under them. But what I want to do is put in the timber edging to both edge the pavers, so hold them in place, and give me an edging to my garden. So the first thing I'm going to do is basically dig a trench next to this little walkway, and then I will cut the timbers and drop them into the trench. So I've dug my trench. It rained briefly, so I'm glad I didn't bring my saw out yet. So there's the trench. And I have a few pieces from before when I did the other edging. So I was just bringing them out to get a sense of the height. Like, that's too short there. But at that end, I think it was a good height. So I am going to have to sort of cut them as I go. Because this ground slopes up, and I think the garden's going to slope up. I think the walkway slopes up slightly. So this one, though, I'm not going to stain them. You can see I have the plain landscaping timbers there. Those timbers I stained and then put them in the ground, and then I stained the tops. So I'm going to cut some pieces from those. And what you do is you can do 3 or 4 that are, you know, about the height of that one. That might be 10 inches, I'll have to measure it. But then you're going to want to have one that's buried a little bit deeper just for stability. So just do that as I go, just using the trowel. So we'll get to cutting and burying now. Okay, so I have all my pieces cut, and I know it looks like kind of a mess right now. They're different heights, but now what you need to do is dig the hole so that it looks even along the top. And again, I am going to try to slope up here. So I'm trying to find an angle. I'm going to start at this end. I'll try to find an angle that works well so you can see what I'm doing. I think that works. Yeah, okay. So that's where I'm going to start. So unfortunately my camera died before I finished this, but you can see what it looks like now, and I stamped the dirt down against it. So we're ready to finish it off now, which is with some screws. So these are the screws that I have. They're self-driving deck screws, but this is going to work a lot better if I drill a pilot hole through these. That way there's less pressure on the timbers, so they're less likely to move. We're going to put the screws on the backside, and for this row of timbers, the backside is the garden side. So my back will be to you as I put these in. And we'll want to get the angle exactly right so that we're not too close to the edge of the timber that we're starting the screw through, but that it goes through this timber and into the next timber. Some of the timbers are more rectangular, so we have more space to work with. It's a little harder with the rounder ones. And I tried to use a cordless drill to drill the pilot hole, but it wasn't strong enough. So I just kept switching back and forth with the drill bit and the screwdriver bit on the drill to put these in. I did want to do them one at a time, so I couldn't go through and drill all the holes and then screw all the screws in. Okay, so those are all screwed in now. And so now what I'm going to do is finish off this side of the walkway. I'm going to push that landscaping fabric down into the crack, and then I'm going to fill the crack with sand. So that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so there it is. And it's going to be one side of a garden that's going to be here. I can't wait to finish that. And on this side, it's holding my pavers in place. So these are very sturdy to walk on now. And I'm looking forward to this weathering to a sort of beachy gray, which is the look I'm hoping for here. I was really hoping to show you a finished garden here, but this is as far as I've gotten so far. I really wanted to get those grasses in the ground. That's an ornamental grass called Cheyenne Sky, and I had bought them about a month ago, and they were quite pot-bound. So I really wanted to get them in the dirt. But to finish the timbers, I need to excavate this down so that I can extend the patio. And yes, that's not level. I have to fix that little piece right there. But I want to extend the patio. So you can see I have to excavate down quite a bit. And I need to know what that depth is going to be before I cut the landscape timbers for the end here. But you can see I've sort of started the trench where they're going to go. That's as far as I've gotten in. Again, I wish I had a finished garden to show you, but at least my plants are in the ground. Here's the pumpkins. They're getting quite large, and I had to do a little makeshift thing on the end there because they were growing out of the fence. So I hope you found this useful and interesting. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoy this sort of content, please subscribe to Crafts That Charm. Thank you for spending time with me today. Take care.